everybody. Welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend. So head on over to infinityflux.net right now, where you can start making your pre-orders. Your pre-orders are due Sunday by 9 o'clock, so you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness. That way, you don't have to worry about books selling out. You don't have to worry about rushing to your comic book store the morning of. They can all be there waiting for you, whether you shop in store or online. Either way, the books will be coming right to you. And just a note, as always, we would like to remind you we are so close to 4,000 subscribers. Please, please subscribe if you enjoy comics, comic content, fun discussions about comics, because that's the kind of stuff we do around these here parts.
And if you are already subscribed, make a few other accounts and subscribe from those.
I think that's perfectly legit.
Gaming the system.
We only care about the numbers.
That's right.
So let's get into this week's worth of books. There is some big hitters in this one. So we're going to start off with our Prime Comic pre-orders. These are some of the biggest and best ones that you don't want to miss out on.
Starting with Absolute Green Lantern #1, and this is the third of the 3 new Absolute books. We've already talked about Flash, we've already talked about Martian Manhunter, and this is the next one. This is written by Al Ewing, and the art is by Janoy Lindsay. And the solicitation, there's not a lot of information out there about this. Luckily, Andy and I have already read this one along with the Flash and Martian Manhunter. Yeah, we know the information, kind of.
And we're not telling.
Right, so the solicitation, all it says is, without the core, without the ring, without the willpower, what's left is the absolute Green Lantern. That's all you get from the solicitation. So, and it's hard to talk about this without spoiling a few different things in the book, but I will tell you that this does feature Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Joe Mullen, and there's another well-known Green Lantern character who appears, who might end up being the villain of the book, or maybe not. It's unclear based on what we've read. It could go either way.
Yep.
The design of that character is really cool. I can't wait for you guys to see that. Joe Mullen, who you see here on the cover, she is going to be the main lantern of this book. But it does also look like, based on this first issue, it does look like that Hal Jordan will play a pretty large role as well. But it might not be the role that you think.
Yep.
And that's all I'm going to say. I will say that of the 3 new ones, Flash, Martian Manhunter, and Green Lantern, this was actually my favorite one. I think this one is the most, well, I don't want to say the most interesting, because they're all really interesting. But this one, of all of them, this one made me go, ooh,
yeah,
that's an interesting plot point. I want to see where this storyline's going, that kind of thing. And actually, we noticed the other day that the preview copy we read may not be the full book.
Yeah.
Our preview copy may have been, it may not have had the last few pages. So there may be some more in there that even we don't know about. I mean, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you have anything, like, it's hard to talk about because there's so many. Saying even one thing could spoil 2 or 3 different things, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, there are some preview pages online that you can see of this. But if you want to stay completely spoiler-free, we won't talk about them. But the art is really great in this. It's definitely maybe the brightest in looking of these 3. And it's, I don't know, when I read it, I thought, okay, there's a lot of familiar elements, a lot of familiar, Green Lantern isms, but all presented in ways that you didn't expect.
Yeah.
Like, what is in this version the Green Lantern? Like, what does that manifest as if there's no ring, no anything like that? That's really interesting. Some of the designs for things are familiar but different.
Right.
And I was looking at this cover, and there is kind of I wouldn't say a spoiler on the cover, but there is
a clue or a hint as to something that
is pretty major in the issue. And reading this, it was going on like, okay, I kind of get what's going on. I thought I knew, what one of the mysteries was, and then you get to the end and something is revealed, and you go, that's much different than I thought this was going to be.
Yeah. It's really interesting, though. If you're a Green Lantern fan, I think you're going to want to check this out because it's a little bit familiar, but they're wildly different takes on a few things. But it's super interesting, and I really want to know, especially with how our preview copy ended. I would definitely want to know what's coming next.
Yeah.
If is there more in the book or not? And I think that I will say that this issue does focus mostly on Hal Jordan,
Yeah.
and which is cool because there's some stuff going on with Hal Jordan,
Yeah.
and I really want to know what that is.
Yeah.
We have theories, but I don't know if we're right or
yeah,
not.
the solicitation where it's like without this, without this, without this is like, yeah, but there's still a lot there.
Yeah,
There's still a lot of really interesting stuff. That yeah, I can't wait to see what happens in the next issue because there's still so much about like what is left of the Green Lanterns that is in this world
Yeah.
and not in this world.
Yeah. So I know that was all really vague, but we
Really
just don't want to
cryptic.
spoil it. But trust me, like it's super good. I really enjoyed it. Definitely want the next issue. So this is just as good as any other absolute book
Yeah.
that's out there, in my opinion. So we have our A cover right here. We have a Juliet NECA variant. There is a Raphael Albuquerque connecting variant. There's a Ryan Benjamin variant. There is a Janoi Lindsay foil variant. Okay, that's the foil version of the A cover. There's a logo foil, which I think that looks really cool, and a blank variant.
Yeah, this is, and what I like, you see those covers, you're like, oh, this is a lot of Joe Mullen. But from what the feeling I got from reading the first one is, all of these characters are going to play almost an equal role in it. Because even there's additional characters mentioned that you don't see. That's like, oh, like that's the whole gang's here type thing. So that's really cool. Next up, another very exciting one. This is Predator versus Spider-Man #1. So continuing Benjamin Percy's epic Predator versus Marvel opus that are somewhat related, but also still you can completely read them without having read.
I think he said they all do take place in the same.
They take place
in the same universe, but yeah, they're pretty siloed off.
Yeah. So of course, written by Benjamin Percy with art by Marcelo Ferreira. This one I'm really excited about because this almost gives me hints of like Predator 2, like Predator in the city.
We said that a long time ago. We said I'd love to see Predator versus Spider-Man, and it'd be like Predator 2 because he's in the city. Yeah.
Yeah.
Benjamin Percy listened to us.
Yeah. Well, we know that. Yeah. We know they all listen to us. Heat wave sends New York City into a blackout, and Spider-Man is on patrol as tempers boil over. You get hot, you get angry, all that kind of stuff. But in the subways lurks a threat unlike anything Peter Parker has faced before, which, I would believe would be the Predator, because it says introducing Skinner, a predator of no honor and no clan and only a thirst for blood. So that's the thing about predators. They've got an honor code. They don't kill women or children. They, anybody who's like already injured, anything like that, because they want to fight the best to learn from them and adapt. And I think this is, we're getting one that anything goes. He's going to be a crazy. You can tell because he doesn't have a shirt on.
That's right. He means business.
He's a wild card.
Yeah.
But I do like the spider sense of like maybe even Predator's cloaking won't. Spider-Man will be able to catch him even still.
I like the idea of Spider-Man spider sense does help him against the cloaking, and the Predator's like, wait, what's going on? I'm invisible, and he can still dodge out of the way.
My hope for this is we get symbiote Predator. That's my wild card thing that I want symbiote Predator, but I also want to see some of the Spider-Man supporting cast. I'd love to see, like we said, he's in the subways and the sewers, go up against Vermin or Lizard or any of those. Have him take out Rhino. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be really cool.
What about Predator versus Kraven? Two predators against each other.
That's just a hunter versus hunter.
Yeah, that writes itself.
If that's not in this, please make that next. So we've got some great covers for you. We've got our A cover right here. We have a Greg Land foil variant. This one's weird. We couldn't figure out what was wrong with this one. This is the Pepe Larraz's promo art variant.
And it does say not final at the bottom. It does
say not final cover, but I doubt he drew it with nothing around it.
Yeah,
so
I'm not real sure what's going on. Maybe it's acetate or something? I don't know.
Yeah, wait around to find out, because I'm sure this will, we'll figure out what this means.
Yeah, probably by the time it's on the website now, but over the weekend it might get updated.
That's usually how they work. And then we also have a Ryan Brown variant.
All right, next up is G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Beachhead one-shot. So this is written and drawn by Phil Hester, and yeah, this is a one shot. Now, this is not part of the Energon Universe GI Joe. This is the Real American Hero GI Joe that's also over at Image right now, but not Energon Universe. No Transformers, no Void Rivals, no nothing like that. And this is done in the spirit of the silent interlude issue, G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero number 21 from back in the 80s. The one that had no dialogue whatsoever, had Snake Eyes infiltrating a Cobra base to save Scarlet. This is in that same vein because in this one, Beachhead is trapped in a demilitarized zone and is being hunted by Cobra. But just like that issue, there is no dialogue in this. This is another silent issue. And this is the beginning of a series of silent mission books. You can see on the top there, it says Silent Missions. The next one I think is Jinx.
Jinx, I almost wonder if these are weekly because that's coming up on the next FOC.
Yeah, that's on.
So
that would be really cool.
Yeah, who knows how many they're gonna do because they're not numbered or anything.
Right.
But I love the little like file card at the very top. All of
yeah, silent missions, Beachhead. You'll have to say Jinx. You get the little tab on there. So yeah, just a new I guess series of GI Joe books. Again, not in the Energon universe, but no dialogue, all action. And I think this is going to be really cool. So this is our A cover by Phil Hester. There is also a Jorge Fornes cover, which looks really cool. And on top of this, they're also, I guess, this isn't really called the Facsimile edition, but this is a reprint of G.I. Joe, Real American Hero number 21, which was the original silent interlude issue. So if you've never read it or you want a fresh copy, you can pre-order a new printing of the original book as well. This is our A cover, and then there's an Andy Kubert variant, which that one looks really awesome.
I wonder if those are the characters we're going to get. Because there's...
Oh, there's Beachhead? Yeah, and Spirit, and is that Roadblock and Duke, I guess, and Jinx.
So, who knows?
Maybe.
We don't know for sure, but it's going to be cool. Also, if you were reading this series in the UK, it did actually have... it had bookends that did have dialogue and stuff.
Interesting.
Because for some reason they thought, we can't release a silent issue.
Yeah.
Our good friend Richard Starkings worked on that.
Yeah.
And he told me all about having to add stuff because they wanted more in it. Okay, next up we have a new Black Label book from DC. This is Resurrection Man 1 of 6. And just a little earlier today, I got to read issue number 1 of this. So I feel better prepared to talk about it. But this is by Ram V and Anand RK and Butch Geist. And if you read it, I think Butch Geist does the first page on each of these because there is a different art style for the first page. Because we have sample copies of 1 and 2, but I have not read issue number 2 yet. But if you're not familiar with Resurrection Man, he's been around for quite a while in the DC universe. He had a New 52 series that was really good. His name's Mitch Shelley, and he has led thousands of lives. Every time he dies, he is reborn with a new superpower. And it's kind of based on how he died. So it says, if he falls out of a plane, he'll be reborn and he has the ability to fly. Or if he gets electrocuted when he's reborn, he has like electric powers. And that's going to play a part in this as well. But this is kind of like Last Days of Resurrection Man. I know we had like a Last Days of Animal Man a long time ago. It's kind of that like, but what's the end of his story? And actually, he's decided to somewhat retire. I guess kind of take himself out of the superhero game. So that way he's not really at risk of dying over and over. But he has a family and he makes a life for himself and eventually dies of old age surrounded by his loved ones, everything. But what he doesn't realize is from doing that, he is also reborn. And when he's reborn now, he has a new purpose and new power, saving the universe. Usually he's a pretty, low stakes character. But yeah, now he is awoken and has like a cosmic purpose that you'll definitely see when you read issue number 1 of how big it is. Plus, he's got a enemy that we only see a little bit of. We see the origin of in the first issue, but it's going to play a part through this. His enemy is a sadistic World War II internment camp commander who has inherited a twisted version of Mitch's power. And when you see that, you'll understand how he gets his powers, everything, but it is crazy and dark. Like I said, this is a Black Label book, so it is a little bit more mature just in tone and storytelling and everything, but Really, really cool first issue. The art is really interesting. It's a little bit more what you expect from a Black Label book. Almost reminds me of a Vertigo book, the way it's presented. Um, Plus, the part I think Butch Geist does, the first page of each issue is really, really cool.
Yeah,
It makes me wish we had a whole series that looked like
yeah.
that too.
It's almost
Because
like a pinup.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and it actually does play a part in the story as well. But this is going to be a prestige format miniseries, which usually I thought it meant is magazine size, but I did not get that impression while reading it. And if you see the cover here, that's not squish. That looks like a regular comic
I
size.
thought Prestige was more like the binding
Yeah, I
and the
think
printing.
magazine is Prestige Plus. I
Mm.
think they call it that. So I believe this is normal comic size. Just
Maybe it's like more like square bound,
yeah,
like a
something
square
like
bound book.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed issue number 1 of this. Like I said, 6 issue miniseries. So if you're looking for a cool new supernatural Black Label series, you'll definitely want to check this one out. I guess the subtitle of this is Quantum Karma,
Yeah.
but it just says Resurrection Man on the main thing. We've got a few covers here. So this is our Decal main cover. We have a Dan Panosian variant and a Nad RK variant, which that's your interior artist, and it kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
It's a little less like obscure looking, like you can't tell what's going on, but it does have that kind of watercolory effect to it.
Next up is Spawn. This is a Spawn universe book. It's called Black Ritual: The Book of Nyx. This is going to be a 7-issue series written by Thomas Healy. The art is by Nat Jones. And this character on the cover, Nyx, she was the first one to take up the mantle of She-Spawn, and she helped save Wanda and Cyan. But then one day she just up and disappeared, and now she is the reigning queen of hell. And this 7-issue series is going to tell what happened between the time she disappeared, and I'm not sure when that was, but she was actually in the books. I just don't know how many years ago she was gone or she disappeared. But this series is going to tell us what happened between the time she disappeared and now, and presumably how she became this queen of hell. Yeah, so don't miss this if you are a Spawn fan. This is our A cover. There's a Jonathan Glapion cover. There's a Jonathan Glapion Virgin cover, and there's a blank cover also.
Well, next up we have a really fun one sounding. This is I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer. It's going to be a 5-issue miniseries from Doug Wagner and Daniel Hilliard. This follows Rennie Bethery, who has been accepted to a New York's most prestigious fashion school.
Good for her.
Yeah. She's
Congratulations to her.
It's not easy to get into.
Yeah.
And her designs are edgy and daring
Yeah.
and unique. Also, they're made of human flesh.
Oh.
Why is that? Because Rennie is a serial killer,
Oh.
but who wants to put that life behind her and become a fashion designer instead. But she has the serial killer urges. So can she put those away long enough to, make it in fashion school? Or is that going to, overtake everything? Looks like from this cover, it's not going to go so well with her putting that life behind her.
If she can't make it in fashion school, she could always be a
taxidermist.
Well, I was going to say a crime scene investigator for the police, like Dexter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love the cover of this. Like, her material is skin.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. But this also has some great covers. So this one is by Hilliard. That's your interior. Same here. This is Hilliard. And I didn't mean to put this one, but this is the 1 in 10 in case you are interested in it, by Jay Lee, which is also a really cool and disturbing cover.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice. That's a skin jacket. There's a face on her arm and on the bottom there. Did not notice that. I bet Jay Lee had a great time drawing.
Oh yeah, I would have fun with that.
All right, next up is Pastime number 1. This is a new 5-issue miniseries from Mad Cave. It's written by Joe Harris, and the art is by Russell Olson. And this is about a guy. His name is Henry Hayes. He is one of the best baseball players around, but he has an affliction that prevents him from playing in the daylight. And if you notice the logo, I feel like maybe he's a vampire. Call me crazy.
Crazy.
There's a little bit of blood on that baseball. I might be, I might be speaking out of school, but I think he's a vampire. But their night baseball is introduced, where they play baseball under the bright lights, and he hey, this is great for him, right? Because now he can play baseball. But will his dreams of playing baseball finally be realized, or will his bloody past catch up with him? And I didn't, at first, when I read this solicitation, I didn't realize the fangs or anything. I was like, wait, what? Bloody past? What does this have to do with baseball? But yeah, sounds like he's a vampire. And it does say this takes place from the Midwest fields of the 1920s to the big city lights of today. Pastime is a small town thriller on a national scale. So, America's pastime, baseball, and vampires. This sounds really cool. So, this is our A cover, and we have an Adam Polina variant.
That one's really cool
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I'm not like a huge sports person, but manga has so many like sports
Oh,
related.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, there needs to be more like sports comics
Yeah,
too.
for sure. Super Pro, bring him back.
Oh man, Super Pro. That was so successful
I
originally.
know,
Why
right?
not? Next up, we have a new spooky book called Plague House. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries by Michael W. Conrad and Dave Chisholm. And this one, the solicitation for it was pretty long and a little confusing, so I tried to make sense of it. But it does say that 13 years ago, a man living a privileged life, seems like the perfect American family, that kind of stuff. Everything was going well. Jump to now, and he's condemned on death row for murdering his entire family.
Yikes.
A little bit almost like Amityville Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's what the house makes me think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's up to 3 ghost hunters, of course, made up of some classic archetypes of a holy man, a skeptic, and a believer in the supernatural. They investigate the home of this killer because they believe maybe it's something in the house that caused it, kind of like Amityville. To investigate the home, find if there's any possible inhuman source that made this man turn to darkness. But what they find is more than ordinary spirits. They find something much more contagious that, if not contained, could spread throughout the world pretty much. So it sounds like maybe it's almost like a it's called Plague House, but almost like a supernatural, like hate plague or anger plague that they find here. So sounds really interesting. We'll definitely have to read it when it comes out, but always for new horror, and Oni does some great horror stuff.
For sure.
So we got a couple covers for this. This is our A cover by your interior artist, Chisholm. We have a Brian Level cover and a Noah Bailey cover with a spooky invisible woman.
Next up is Absolute Superman number 6, and I'm absolutely excited for this one because this is going to...
Lame joke.
Come on. It's classic. But I'm excited for this one because this is going to fill in another gap in this Superman's past. So it says that this is the secret origin of Absolute Superman. Something strange happened in the American heartland several years ago. Something that brought fear and darkness to a small Kansas town and forever changed the lives of one kindly couple. I'm assuming that's the Kents. So one big mystery across these first 5 issues that we've had is we don't know anything about Superman or Clark or Kal-El. We don't know anything about his time on Earth. Right when he came from Krypton, we don't know anything about that at all. We got a glimpse of him as a young kid on Krypton, and we know that now he is an adult traveling around the Earth helping people. But he was in Smallville for a time, and we have no knowledge.
We just got maybe we got one page where we saw like the Kent farm,
right,
like condemned or
something. Yeah.
And then we saw Ma Kent presumably in bed talking about in like a nursing home or a hospital, talking about like where is he or something.
Yeah, she's like, come back to me, and the nurses are like, who's she talking about?
But she has like a photo,
right?
So I love the way they've been building this mystery.
Yeah,
because it's like, what are these lost years?
Exactly. That's and the secret origin of Absolute Superman. We know that like maybe we'll see like, oh, what was he like when he first got his powers when he got to Earth, and did the Kents take him in the way they did in the original universe? Or I have no idea, but this
we know he was older when he landed too, which I think is already a super interesting twist.
Yeah, and the big mystery too that we saw, I believe it was at the end of issue 4, is that his parents were planning to go with him.
Yeah.
But we have no idea. Did they go? Did they make the trip? I don't know. So maybe we'll get all of those questions answered here. And I think we might, because I think issues 7 and 8 are like a two-part story arc, kind of like how Batman and Wonder Woman are doing. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think maybe that's the case. So I'm really excited for this. So this is our A cover. We have a Derek Chu variant, and there is a Puppeteer Lee variant.
We've got issue 6 coming out, or issue 5 coming out next week.
For what?
Absolute Superman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we'll learn a little bit more in that
Oh,
issue.
shoot, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So
wow.
Check us out on Monday, because we'll be talking about the issue right before that.
I thought that was the next one. I thought we had already read 5, but no, 5 comes out next week. Holy, it's right here. Why do I not know that? Yeah,
like
we literally just picked it up. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, next up we have The Ultimates number 11. Talk about back-to-back 2 of my favorite books coming out, Absolute Superman and then The Ultimates. And Ultimates number 11 is going to be great, because this is the war for Asgard and a new hero approaches. Like I mentioned,
right there. Oh my gosh.
Like I mentioned on our Wednesday show, this feels like a Dragon Ball Z title where it always had two statements.
Yeah.
A war for Asgard, a new hero approaches. So in this one, the Maker has put Loki on the throne of Asgard, and I think we kind of knew that. I think at some point they did mention Loki.
There was a little something about that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a little more obvious now. It's like, oh yeah, of course the Maker put him there, because that would, dethrone Odin, who maybe would pose a threat, and then Thor, who's now, he's still a prisoner of Sif, I believe. That's like why she's there, is she's...
Who, Thor?
Yeah, Thor's like a prisoner of Sif.
Well, no, aren't they out and about?
They are, but she's always like...
she's like she's like his probation officer or something
exactly.
like that.
So in this one, it's up to Thor, Sif, and She-Hulk to journey into mystery, which definitely makes me think of to Asgard.
Yep.
To topple another one of the Maker's dominoes, which I guess they're going after Loki this time.
And we haven't seen this universe's version
of
Loki.
No, and you talked about, I don't remember what issue it was, that we got a one-page thing where I think it was Hulk and Thor and Sif were like, we got another thing we got to do.
Yeah, it was
a one-page.
Well, it was a double-page spread that you had to turn this way.
Yeah,
I remember that, and I was like, "What in the world is this story? When are we going to get that?"
The World Tree, and I think we saw some of the 9 realms in its branches and everything.
I thought maybe we talked about that. I thought, oh, are they going to make a mini series out of this or something? Because it was in the middle. I don't remember what issue. Smack dab in the middle of the book. And then there was nothing else about it. It's like, what the heck? You can't.
But I remember reading, be like, I want that story.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting that. But it also says, and discover a surprising new ally. Mm-hmm. So maybe someone else, we're getting another new Ultimate character. They always kind of sneak them in. They're never super obvious. So I don't know what's going to happen. But...
It's Volstagg, but he's ripped. Yes. He's not fat at all,
My thing I was hoping is an Ultimate Beta Ray Bill.
Holy cow.
But he's just a horse. But we'll have to see. But I'm very excited about this. We got some variants for this as well. This is your A cover. We have an Anedito variant. And we have an Inyuk Lee variant. Next up, we got more Essential Comics. These are ones that we still are kind of on our list of ones we want to make sure that you know are coming out. Mm-hmm. Starting off,
this is Doctor Strange of Asgard number 2. The first issue came out this week, and when we talked about it on Monday, I said that a lot of dialogue, didn't really know where it was going for a while, and then there is a page turn, and it's like, oh, we're doing this. That's wildly interesting. So the story continues here. Now, there's not a whole lot of information about this issue specifically. It just talks more overall about the series, but we do know that, Doctor Strange went to Asgard to try to find a job because he's not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore. But now he has to cover up a murder, and one that Thor would be furious if he found out about. And Strange is going to have to try to track down whoever the killer is, and also find a job while gaining mastery over Asgardian magic, and that's what he talked to the Sorcerer's Holdup about. She's like, I don't know if you're ready for this. It's wildly different. He also has to dodge Thor's mounting suspicions and evading mysterious assassins. And it's more, that's not the only mystery, though, because, yes, there is a murder. He's going to have to solve the murder, but we actually saw who committed the murder, but they say they didn't do it, even though we saw them do it. So that's like a mystery inside of an enigma or something like that. So it's really cool, and I'm looking forward to this. So we have our A cover here, and there is a Godtail variant also. I like that. I like the
with all the
colors on that one.
hands?
Yeah. Can you
That's
imagine
cool.
that in foil?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. Next up, we have Secret 6, number 2 of 6. This is going to be a 6-issue miniseries. We've already got number 1 that came out this week, right?
Yep.
Came out this week. We love the issue number 1. It's so much fun, but definitely a setup issue.
Yeah.
You know, the whole team wasn't quite together by the end of the end of it. They're kind of together, but
in a way,
some of them aren't quite conscious
yeah,
in that.
Technically, they are physically together, but that's about
in
it.
the same room.
Yeah, right.
But this one, now we have the team assembled, but can they be together long enough without starting to kill each other? Because this is kind of a Secret 6 made up of 3 heroes and 3 villains.
Yeah.
So there's going to, of course, be tension in there. And this, I don't know if this solicitation kind of spoils what happened. We do know Amanda Waller went missing.
Yeah.
But it does say in the solicitation for this one, Checkmate has got Amanda Waller's treasure trove. So was it Checkmate that tried to get her out?
Or what does it mean? What's her treasure trove?
That's what I'm wondering if it means her brain.
Her knowledge. That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Because it says,
I don't know.
but they need a key to open it, one that only Super Sun, Catman, Dreamer, Deadshot, Gossamer, and Black Alice have. And
how do they have it?
I don't know. I would think maybe Dreamer, because she's the one who locked it away, maybe had the ability to take it out. But I don't know how any of the others play a factor in that.
Yeah, no idea.
But we'll have to read it to find out. But I'm very excited about this now that we've got kind of our team there. We're going to get more scenes with some of the other ones that I can't wait for. I can't wait for more Catman. So, yep, this is Secret 6, number 2 of 6. This is our A cover with art by Steven Segovia, who's your interior artist, and it looks just like
great.
that.
Yeah, it looks
and
awesome.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We also have an Olivetti cover. So I wonder if they're going to be... Because this kind of almost looks like the one from number 1. There was the Olivetti with Catman and Deadshot.
Yeah.
Then we also have a Lyrics variant as well.
This is Hyde Street number 5. Number 4 came out this week. I haven't read that one yet, but you said it was really cool.
Yep.
In this one, Mr. X-Ray is going to seek an ally among the terrifying beings known as the Residents. The
Residents are they're all the residents of Hyde Street.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Oh,
you become a resident of Hyde Street when you're one of the soul collectors.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I thought it was like a select group of people. But just the residents of Hyde Street. Okay, so he's looking for an ally. Now, this does say, meet Miss Glee Goodbody, the model of a healthy lifestyle who lulls her clients with the seductive promise of an effortless transformation. We've actually met her before in the Devour one-shot. So this is not the first appearance of a new character on Hyde Street, because she actually had her own book.
Yeah.
That's where we first met her, but now we've never seen her in the pages of the Hyde Street proper book before. But it does say that underneath her perfect exterior lies a core of rotten deceit, one that Mr. X-Ray is determined to uncover and understand. So, yeah, it'll be cool to see her mix it up with some other characters of Hyde Street. And Mr. X-Ray doesn't seem like he's the worst guy ever, so I don't know if they're going to hit it off, or maybe, I don't know. But yeah, next issue is going to be awesome. So this is our A cover. There is a Francis Portela and Brad Anderson cover, and there's a Layla Lays and Alex Sinclair variant.
And that's cool because Layla Lays was the artist on Devour.
That's right.
So she gets to do going back to that character. Well, next we have Star Wars Jedi Knights number 2. Number 1 came out this week. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. It's so cool to get this time period with the whole Jedi Council is like the main characters of this series. And the first issue is, and they've even said this, not really indicative of the entire series. It's more of introducing you to the characters and the time frame. But with this, it kind of kicks into what the series is going to be like, because each issue is going to be kind of a team-up issue between a couple of characters, some from the Jedi Council, maybe some other characters will find their way in there. But this one is going to be Yoda and Vecna Mooncrest, who is the first issue was her first appearance. And they are going to face a new threat on a strange, fantastic, and mysterious world. But the planet's surface ruler has a dark secret he wants hidden from the Republic. And this is going to be the first story featuring the never released action figure of Aether Prime, who you see in the background. So that's also another big part of the series, is bringing back some of the old unused Kenner designs for figures back when they had to make up stuff when they didn't have any more movies to make figures from.
Did they run out of characters?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because they made figures of everybody.
They made of everybody, and they wanted the license to continue, and so they were starting to kind of make up their own like pseudo story and everything that never got released. But there are like images online of what they would have looked like. But it seems like with this one, we're getting into that story about kind of those characters, those vehicles. They said they're going to bring all of them in there. And like I said, each issue is going to kind of spotlight um, different team ups of characters, and but with that through story. And I think that through story is the Aether Prime bit. So uh, hopefully everyone checked out number 1. I thought it was awesome. I think the thing that Mark Guggenheim was told to do in this also was each issue have at least 3 splash pages to make it extra cinematic. So yeah, this is a very cinematic feeling Star Wars book. We've got our A cover right here. We have a Dan Jurgens classic variant, which, man, Dan Jurgens can do anything pretty much.
Yeah.
We also have a Phil Noto sneak preview variant, and that's because Phil Noto is going to be your artist on the new ongoing Star Wars series coming up very soon. So this gives you a sneak peek, because of course Luke is not in this; he's not even alive yet.
When does the new series take place?
After Return of the Jedi. It's the first breaking out of the original trilogy, ongoing, featuring those characters we're getting. And then there is a Turin Clark lightsaber variant. We got one of those for issue number 1. I think we're going to be getting those for pretty much the entire Jedi Council. Also coming out, we have Grimm's Fairy Tales Alice in Zombieland. We don't talk about a whole lot of Zenescope or Grimm's Fairy Tales just because it's been going for so long, and it definitely builds on itself. But this one sounds fun. It kind of sounds like a fun, like, extra adventure that anyone could jump into. This is by Joe Bruscia and Dace Francini. And it says, nothing is as it seems in Wonderland, and when a familiar visitor returns, which I believe is Alice, she is unknowingly followed by something even more horrible than the darkest nightmares that already haunt this place, zombies. So, I mean, that just sounds like a cool idea anyways. It's Wonderland overtaken by zombies. Yeah. And what characters get infected. You know, like Mad Hatter as a zombie would be a horrifying thing. You'll see on one of the variants that there's some pretty scary stuff. So this is your A cover. There you go. There is your Cheshire Cat. This is the Talbio variant. And there's a John Royal variant as well. Pre-zombie.
That really looks like J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah.
I thought that's who it was at first.
He's got a very Campbell style. Next up, we have continuing stories, books that have either already started or about to start, but the stories in them are continuing.
This is Justice League: The Atom Project number 4. And in this one, Captain Atom and Major Force are going to slug it out. We saw that one coming at the end of last issue. They're going to have an epic battle that's going to leave an entire town leveled. And the Inferno organization. So this is interesting because, you know, Justice League over in Justice League Unlimited are currently dealing with the Inferno organization, whoever they may be. But they pop over here too because they have been watching closely to see who will be left standing between Captain Atom and Major Force. And while all that's going on, Ray Palmer and Ryan Choi's clash over the ethical transfer of power puts them in direct conflict with the U.S. government. So I wonder if, like, maybe the government's like, hey, we know you can transfer powers. We want you to put them in our soldiers instead of giving them back to the hero. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it sounds like it could be. So this is our
it's the Mark Spears variant.
Yeah, these are out of order.
They're out of order.
Okay, yeah, this is the Mark Spears variant. There's a Kevin Wada variant, and then this is our A cover by Mike Perkins.
Which, I mean, if you want 2 characters that are more unstable, Major Force and Captain Atom, you don't want to be anywhere in the vicinity that they are. Yeah,
if one of them gets punctured, goodbye wherever you are, and if both of them do, like, there's the planet just gone, pretty much.
Next up, we have Pop Kill number 2. Number 1 of this is so much fun, of course, about the warring soda brands, and the extreme lengths they go to sabotage one another. And the excitement and espionage amps up in this one as both sides start to come apart at the seams. And John, who is our kind of our main, almost James Bond, working for one of the sides to infiltrate, sabotage one of their scientists who is creating uh, a drink that the carbonation stays around
Yeah.
longer. He he may be fooling himself thinking that he has everything under control. And I think, having read this whole thing a couple of years ago, back when it was a Kickstarter, um, he's not going to be working for either side for much longer,
Hmm.
because it's going to be kind of an every man for himself
Interesting.
scenario. But this is our A cover for number 2, and we have a Mark Chirillo variant as well.
This is Mothra, Queen of the Monsters, number 2. Unfortunately, the solicitation had no information about this issue specifically. It just sort of recapped what the series is about. But we do know that the two sisters on the cover, Emmy and Mira, they live in a world where Mothra was killed, and because Mothra was the protector of the planet's not so great anymore. And but they do have a plan to go back in time basically and get a little Mothra in an egg. And
Little as a relative term
sure,
for
yeah,
Mothra.
little for Mothra, yeah. But I'm not sure what this issue is going to be about specifically. At the end of the last issue, they like set off on their journey. Like, so now they're actually going to go try to execute this plan.
I really want to ride that little baby larva Mothra.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah. Put a saddle on her. Yeah, this is our A cover, and there is a Gal cover.
Next up, this is Teen Titans Go number 2. Number 1 that came out this week was awesome. It was so much fun. Great homages to classic DC art styles and other indie comics and all of that. And once again, I love how comic focused this is. It's
Yeah.
Teen Titans Go, but they really lean into that this is the comic version, because in number 2, it's guest starring the Red Lanterns, which seemed like the opposite of what you would have in something
Right.
like Teen Titans Go. But Cyborg has gone missing, and Raven, Beast Boy, and Starfire were the last ones to see him fighting Atrocitus, the leader of the Red Lanterns. But they all have conflicting stories. So Robin, as his puts his detective hat on, and will have to interview all 3 of them to get wildly different stories. Where one of them even says that he went missing not fighting Atrocitus, but Dexstar, the Red Lantern.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like that's maybe a Starfire, where she'd be like,
Yeah.
it was a cat. It was the cat. But who is telling the truth? And Robin will have to suss it out. So this is really awesome. Also, this book is $2.99.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the cheapest books on the stands, and you're gonna have a blast reading it. So don't miss out on Teen Titans Go number 2, and there's only the one cover for it. Next up, we got Cover Gallery. These are just really cool covers we wanted to make sure that you saw.
This is Daredevil number 20. This is the Chris Giarrusso connecting sketch variant. And about this issue, this is the beginning of a new story arc, and Daredevil is back in the black armor in this story too. So we have this cover. There's a Philip Tan variant, which I think is awesome, and that's your black armor. And there's also the Ryan Mindering Marvel Television variant. So yeah, Daredevil just hit Disney Plus, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I hope Charlie Cox gets the black armor in that,
Oh.
with the shoulder pads
Yeah,
and everything. I want to see that live action. Next up, we have Birds of Prey, issue number 20, and this is really fun. They're doing the April. I almost wanted to say April Fool's Day,
yeah.
because that's what Marvel's doing. This is the April Fool's Day covers. And this one's by Zoe Thorogood, which is awesome to see her doing more covers for DC.
This is Poison Ivy number 32. This is the Joshua Swaby variant. We also have the Kyung Yom variant, and there is a Bernard Chang April Fool's variant. And it does say in this issue, Ivy uncovers an unpleasant truth about Janet.
Ooh. Next up, we have Incredible Hulk, issue number 24. Some great covers for this. This is the Bangus Marvel vs. Capcom cover. We also have, this one's really cool. This is the doily variant. Just Hulk's mouth staring in a mirror, holding a mirror, just infinite.
Yeah.
And we have a Chris Giarrusso Marvel connecting variant this time. We got Hercules on there, Grey Gargoyle, Hobgoblin, the original Ghost Rider in the back. Very cool.
This is Laura Kinney, Wolverine #5. This is the Alex Maleev X-23 variant, and this one guest stars Bucky, so
Oh.
that's really cool.
Next up, we have Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider #12. This is actually the A cover, the Mark Brooks A cover, but I love the colors on this, the kind of classic feel, classic sci-fi comic,
Yeah.
the sepia tones, all of that. Very, very cool.
This is Uncanny X-Men #13, and this is also the beginning of a new story arc called The Dark Artery, which
Wow.
is also what you call your heart when you eat a lot of bacon, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is the Bangus Marvel vs. Capcom variant. There's a David Mack variant, and there is a Gio Russo connected variant with the Watcher and the Wizard and Whirlwind
Valkyrie.
and Val. Yeah.
Ooh, Brown Suit Wolverine.
Uh-huh.
I guess it's Werewolf by Night. It could be that or Vermin. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Vindicator.
Yeah,
Vision.
Warlock. Next up, we got Bookshelf. There's some fantastic collected editions
Mhm.
and stuff coming out this time, so don't miss out on this. Starting off with Doctor Fate by J.M. DeMatteis. And this is a fantastic series that I don't know how many people have read like the whole thing, but I've read a good chunk of it. It's so good, very classic. And this is when they introduce two characters who would combine to become the latest Doctor Fate. This ran for quite a while. This has the issue 1 through 4, the mini series, and then 1 through 24 and the annual
Wow.
all together.
This just says trade paperback. That's call it a compendium.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a compendium at
let's
that
call a
point.
spade. Yeah.
And this is going to be $59.99.
This is the Spectre, the Wrath of the Spectre Omnibus, which is going to be really cool. This is going to be $99.99 and collects a bunch of stuff. A couple issues of Showcase. There's several issues of Brave and the Bold. There's the Spectre 1 through 10, his own series, Wrath of the Spectre #4, Adventure Comics 431 through 440, and just a whole bunch of other stuff too. So like a lot of good classic like Bronze Age, Modern Age, Spectre stuff for $100.
It's a good price, too.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Cosmic Odyssey, the deluxe edition. If you're not familiar with this is kind of like Mike Mignola's biggest like superhero project that he worked on. So this was written by Jim Starlin. Of course, it's a big cosmic thing. It's got to be Jim Starlin. Also had Mike Mignola, Carlos Gordon, and Steve Olive. And in this one, the Champions of Earth, New Genesis, and Apocalypse all to come together for this big Odyssey. And this being the deluxe edition has the entire miniseries all collected in it in a hardcover format for $39.99.
This is a new DC Finest book. This is Batman, The Killing Joke, and Other Stories. So this is going to be $39.99. It contains Batman, The Killing Joke, Batman, Son of the Demon, Batman #413 through 422, and Detective Comics 580 through 589. So you get some really awesome 90s, early 90s, like Batman. Wait a minute, yeah, for late 80s, I think. Yeah, late 80s Batman comics, Detective Comics, plus The Killing Joke and Son of the Demon. Those are two of the best Batman stories out there. And yeah, $39.99.
A nice poo-poo platter
Yeah.
of Batman stories.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Superman. This is the Death and Return of Superman Compendium, and this is going to have a ton of stuff in it. So this is not only just the main Superman titles of the time, like Superman Action, Superman Adventures, Man of Steel. This also has the Green Lantern issues, the specials that are like the Supergirl Lex Luthor special. It also has the news time, the kind of like newspaper article one about the death of Superman. All of that all together for only $59.99. So you can get pretty much the entire Death and Return of Superman for pretty cheap.
Yeah. And this is DC versus Vampires World War V hardcover volume 1. This is going to be $34.99, but I don't know what issues it collects. It did not say. I guess it's just the first half of however, I think 12 issues, maybe it's the first 6.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah, it's going to be $34.99, and it's pretty good.
Next up, we have Ultimate's Epic Collection. I love how they're collecting these the Ultimate collections that all have like this special color.
Yeah,
on
like
them.
Ultimate Spider-Man had that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ultimate X-Men was like a yellowy
Yeah.
orange, something like that. This is going to collect issues 1 through 13 of the Ultimates, which is that Ultimates 1 and 2? Because Ultimates 1 is not that
I thought the
long.
first Ultimates was 12 issues, or maybe 13, or maybe it is Ultimates 1 and 2 together.
I'm not sure. Because I thought Ultimates 2 was called Ultimates 2.
Right. It was, yeah.
But if you've never read this, I think this is really important, especially if you're a fan of the MCU, to see where a lot of that came from.
Yeah.
A lot of the story, the character designs, all of that coming from this. It's also like, I really like all the Ultimates, the old Ultimate stuff. I've read all of this all the way up through Ultimatum, Ultimate Comics, Avengers, all of that kind of stuff. But this first one by Mark Miller and Brian Hitch is just a classic. So don't miss out on this. Don't get too attached to all the characters.
Right.
Because this is a separate universe and not everyone makes it
Yeah.
out alive. And you can get this for $44.99.
And this is Spawn, the Sam and Twitch Case Files Trade Paperback Volume 1. This is going to be $9.99 and collects the first 8 issues of the series. So you get 8 issues for $10. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I remember I haven't read this whole thing, but the first couple issues of this were really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out. And we're getting a lot of really good Spawn collected editions with the medieval Spawn and
there was the Violator,
book, all of that, or the Dark Ages, I think. Plus this, yeah, you're gonna have a nice Spawn collection. Next up, we got new printings. Only one thing major to mention, and this is the Batman 614 Facsimile edition. We're still recollecting all of the original Hush story just in time for Hush 2.
Yeah.
That's going to be coming out around this exact time.
I wish they started doing these earlier so that was it 619 I think was the end, so that 619 came out like on the same day as Batman 158 with Hush 2.
Yeah, maybe they wanted to do that, but who knows.
Yeah.
But if you've never read it, I've been getting all these, but I'm getting all the foil covers because there is a foil edition of it as well. But they've all been great. I think I got one this week or last week. I don't remember.
Yeah, they're coming out every week, I think.
Yeah, so very, very cool.
Oh, wait a minute. They are weekly, so maybe it will line. Maybe it will line up that. I was thinking they were monthly, but I'll have to look at the calendars.
Yeah, if they're weekly, then they might actually hit that goal. And that is it for Comics from the Future. So thank you so much for watching. So many big, great books on this show. Definitely don't miss out on Absolute Green Lantern. What else were the big ones on this?
Predator, Spider-Man. We got Resurrection Man. I'm really excited for I Was a Fascist Serial Killer.
Yeah, that one sounds really cool. So many great things. Get your pre-orders in at infinityflux.net. That way you don't have to worry about it when they are released. You will have a copy waiting for you in the store if you shop locally, or if you are somewhere else and you get your book shipped to you, you're still guaranteed to get your copy. So this way, there's no worries, no fuss, no nothing. You'll get your books. Super excited for all the cool stuff coming out very soon. Let us know in the comments which ones you are most excited for. We love to hear from you. Let us know what books are your favorite currently coming out, which ones you're most looking forward to. Just give us something to talk about.
Yeah.
And again, once again, subscribe. We would love to hit that 4,000 goal soon.
I'd love to hit it by Free Comic Book Day, which is coming up in less now than 2 months.
Yes, Free Comic Book Day coming up. We've got the big show planned for that, going over all of the Free Comic Book Day books. We might have some special presentations from C2E2 coming up in Chicago. We'll have to see how that works out. I'm saying that out loud, so now we have to do it.
Yeah, we're committed now. It's locked in.
I put it out into the ether. So great stuff coming. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that. And until next time, see ya.